Because I think we might need.
Just have to vacate it first.
Only a few things there.
Thank you.
I don't know how long it's gonna sit by this guy, but. Thank you. Yeah.
What do you mean, Dave? Come on in.
Like I noticed.
Good evening. How are you? We're here.
Too many rulers and out of school from first grade to 12th. Not discouraged, they used to be able to that. But by the time I finished first grade, yeah. I learned more, at least learned that I wanted to see it.
Jake, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
No, is he okay?
Yes, this is home.
There's another chair here, fellas. What's in there?
Stomach for a second, I don't know what's happened,
I
but
feel
just
bad.
come on.
Pardon me?
Having sat in the ER with small children several
Yeah.
times, I totally feel for
He's
your
got
wife.
me in the ER, so.
Anytime, John. Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We do have all 5 selectmen here. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any amendments to the agenda tonight?
Just what's in the yellow,
Yeah.
you should have,
So, okay.
well, for me, actually.
All right, public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment? Yep. If you could move up to the table there. Thank you.
My name is Jake Webb, the president of the Durham Athletic Boosters. I know you guys talked about it. I found out today you guys talked about this at the last meeting. I didn't know that. And I understand the idea of going to the town for some of this stuff, but I brought some pictures of what is the safety hazards on this field right now. And I don't think we can afford to wait to get this thing fixed before kids are playing softball in this field. This happened last year. We had 2 injuries caused from this, from playing on this field after this, because we tried to doctor it enough to get it fixed to a certain point where we could still play. There's double pictures, so as you hand them around,
All right, thank you.
there's about a 40-foot line and then 2 circles on that field that are completely, you'd have to be a landscaper to fix these. So I think that we need to at least discuss that portion of this,
Right.
how we're gonna rectify that when the season starts.
When does
Um,
the season start?
We're looking, as soon as it stops, well, melts, we're looking probably, we're indoors right now, we're looking to try and get out second week of April.
So I guess the reason for when we got your letter, like the day that we were finalizing everything, and we'd already taken it to the budget committee, so we weren't really able to put anything more in, and that's why the suggestion to come to the town meeting, which was April 4th, and present, when we do the Parks and Recreation department, get up and present, bring these slides. What we should be able to have a computer there. If you can get a file for her, we can put them up on a screen or something, and you can present on the floor to ask them to increase the budget. And unfortunately, that's the warrant's already printed now, and we can't expend money that's not voted on town floor. That's what I realize that I can see there are definitely issues there, but we have to do it through the appropriations from the town's floor, and I think that's about the only way that we can go about getting the funds right now. As soon as it's voted, the funds will be available. So if
This is a town field, right, that we've played on.
It is.
I would think it'd be in our best interest to look at fixing this out of a
We
general
don't-
fund.
We don't disagree, we just have to come up with the money
Right, we just
somewhere,
have
you
to,
know?
all the money that the town spends
So if we have to,
gets voted on at town meeting, every department, everything. And so we had already met with the budget committee and they had done their line-by-line analysis. And so funds to do anything with the fields aren't included in the proposed budget. It doesn't mean that they can't be added, but the next available mechanism for adding them is at town meeting.
I guess there's no general fund then that we would have to fix anything like this during the course of the year.
no, everything we spend has to be voted at the town meeting.
Right, we get proposals from departments, we review them all, we put the budget together, we put it in front of the town. We don't have any kind of just contingency fund, for lack of a better term.
I guess my concern would be then, we go into the town meeting, they say no, we're in a different spot then.
At the very least, I think even if it got voted down, you're gonna bend some ears, and I think that you at least get some volunteers stepping up, you know?
That's what we did last year, and we're not professional landscapers.
Well, I mean, but there are people in town who are, that maybe hear your cause and
Regardless,
step
it's gonna
up, you
take
know what I
weeks to
mean?
grow grass in that. I mean, even if you skimmed it with loom and try to put, you ain't gonna get grass grown in April, second week of April. You're gonna go right into June before you get grass in that for to be able to play ball on. So you're not talking till a fix till end of June,
Right,
first of
and
July.
that's the other piece of it, is that once it is repaired, it's gonna have to be fenced off and not played on.
That is not true if you saw that.
Yeah, we put a sod in it, yep. That's the other thing you do, and cut it out. But
Do you have a cost?
About $1,500 to sod that, and get that all put in right. That's from two different landscaping companies, gave me a general one, because they can't get on the field right now.
Sad they bring it on the floor. Like I said, we're saying just bring all that information with you and let's see what they say.
I'm likely to support what you're saying, because it is a hazard. I'm not sure exactly what our agreement is with I believe is there a lease agreement for that field?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
The Boosters took over softball last year because the people who were running it just had let it almost die. And they basically handed me all the equipment and said, here you go, if you guys want to keep it going. So I have no idea going back on any of this.
Okay.
I just know that that's always been the town softball field.
And where that is essentially vandalism, that somebody went, is there any chance that our insurance would cover it? Which would eliminate the entire need to,
Well, at least some, because we've got a 1,000 deductible, 500 deductible?
Depends on what it is.
Okay, so we'd still have to cover the deductible, but that's a good, I'm not sure if they've got a time frame when we have to report it by either, but,
When that occurred?
That occurred last May. We have a good idea who the individual was. Adam Gormley, who was a game warden in town, did a little investigation for us and chased down a few people, and then it turned out later it's the same young gentleman who did the baseball field at the school.
so we can look into the insurance angle, and would you be able to maybe look through what we have and see if there's a lease agreement? Because
Absolutely.
where there's a change from the
Well, we're still
boosters.
running it as a separate entity.
Okay.
As Durham softball.
Okay, so, but if it was leased to the boosters, we may have to relook at a lease, or I'm not sure if it was leased or not, so I don't know what the agreement
I
was.
have no idea.
I can ask Janet too. She might have an idea
Yeah.
about how that works.
So this wasn't resodded last year after the,
No, what we did is we put some dirt underneath and then took the grass pieces that had been ripped up and pieced it all back together as good as we could, so we could finish the year.
So,
So can we check into the insurance piece? of
Yeah,
it?
she's gonna look at
All right,
that.
And then other than that, would you be willing to show up on town meeting?
I've got to ask a few people to come with me, if I'm gonna need votes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want these back?
Nope, those are for you guys, thank you.
But if you do, I anticipate that we will probably have a computer at town meeting, and so if you've got pictures
Or
and you wanna be
PowerPoint
able
or
to
something?
put them up on the screen so that people can really see what you're talking about.
Yes, I can do
If
that.
you could maybe send an email to Ruth.
Ruth?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And any other public comment this evening?
I don't know if mine's public or if I'm on the, that it might be on
You,
the agenda.
you're on the agenda, so, yeah. All right, consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Okay, and I will make note of a couple things in there. One is the scholarship committee put in their letter for the award for the scholarship, and we're hoping to present that at town meeting. And the second is there is a rather wordy opinion on the county charter budget committee authority question that's been going around, and would be might be an interesting read, or might be a good read before you go to bed. But it's rather wordy, but it gets into a lot of the history of the charter and the different meetings that happened before the charter was approved. All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Motion carries. Action and discussion items, update of warrant for signature. And what was it? There was a change, right?
Well, it wasn't really a change, I just forgotten to take out the double planning board. So there's one less
One less
article, and we
article.
just decided
Okay.
that we wanted to have it signed again, that's
Okay.
all.
I move we accept the annual town meeting warrant as presented.
Discussion. All in favor? Motion carries.
Who seconded that, please?
Josh. Bulky Waste Day, put in here May 16th, that, I believe we typically do it on the third Saturday of May. And so that would be, this is basically a vote to set that date, and also typically one of the board members oversees it, or it could be the.
Well, last year, instead of having the board members and then volunteers, we did have the Public Works Department.
Right, but did the board member still oversee it, or did Sean oversee it that time?
Was Barry on the board then? 'Cause I think Barry was.
That's what I thought.
Barry over there.
Yeah, so, but that is a possibility to have the road commissioner oversee it instead of a board member, but that's up to the board.
I'd be fine with the road commissioner.
Should find out if he's available.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, I got my own stuff to haul.
So, as far as appointing who to kind of go with the head with it, we can do that next
Right,
meeting.
we
But
can get, as it gets closer.
What's the time frame of that?
typically 9 to 3, or 9 to 1, 9 to 2, 9 to 3.
3?
Yep.
Can I have a motion to set the date anyway?
I move that we set the date for bulky waste cleanup on May 16th from 9 to 3.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion carries. Can we also make sure Pine Tree Waste is available that day? Because it won't work without them.
Yeah,
Big piles.
it's not gonna help our field.
Animal control update?
We got 2 applications for the Friday deadline, we got another one on Monday, but since we didn't actually put the deadline in the newspaper, I'm not sure whether you guys want to necessarily stick directly to the newspaper, directly to the deadline. So there are 3 applications. None of the people who applied have the training necessary for the animal control, which is why in your packets there's a description of how much the animal control training would cost. And then we'd need probably a couple of pieces of equipment, probably have a heart trap. We may or may not have a set of gloves. And then there's also a sheet that is the budget for Lisbon's animal control, which is actually going down this year.
Did you figure what, how much it would lower our cost?
How much?
Because this is
well,
their full budget, and
Right, no, we pay, I had figured it would be 8,600, we pay 8,300 right now. So it would probably be about the same, the 8,300. It's not gonna be a significant.
Right, especially
But it
since
won't go up, at least.
it's only for one half the year that it would drop anyway, because we're,
Right.
yeah,
Right, through the end of December.
okay. So we can, but when we put together the budget, we were budgeting for 7%.
Or a 5.2% increase, I believe, yeah.
So we had it way above it.
Okay. So, what's,
Well, if we didn't have a deadline for applications, we probably ought to set the deadline, so that.
well, we did set a deadline, but it wasn't put into paper, so.
So we're saving money.
It wasn't publicized.
Well,
So as far as the three, I think the three that came in are, I believe it was it on the Durham channel and
It was on the Durham channel.
with the date?
Yes, I think so.
MMA had a date.
MMA had the date. It was just the Tri-Town that didn't have the date.
And the only place they do the training is up in Orono?
Yes. It's because they have a farm up there and they introduce the animal control officers to big animals and stuff like that. They find it easier that way.
we don't really have the numbers between having to supply some of this and some of these other numbers. We don't really have a total figure right now, do we?
Well, it depends on what you want to put as a stipend. You're talking probably about $600 to $800 for the training. Then you're talking another $35 to belong to the animal control organization. Another little less than $100 for have a heart trap. If we buy gloves, it's another $100.
We need to look around for that, because I'm pretty sure the last one we did, we bought gloves, and I don't know what happened.
And I think Jeff Cooper has them, but I haven't asked him for them.
Okay.
So we're looking at it looks like roughly $1,000 in sort of startup
Right.
capital costs, and then figuring out what our stipend would be. But most of that $1,000 would be a one-time.
Right, and we pay
If
for
the
other people's
person
training.
stays in the position.
Right, if the person stays.
Right.
Do we want to have a brief meeting sometime in the next week or so to review the applications that came in?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Review them and make sure that we're on board with all this down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because right now, we don't have some of that.
When?
It's Lisbon, right?
So that's been
Well,
stuff.
this is if we go on our own, correct?
This note, is that about for if we go on?
No, it's for us. I talked to MMA today. MMA won't insure personal vehicles, so whoever were to take this position would have to understand that there would be no insurance on their vehicle. There also is where if you would have to decide whether or not the animal control officer was going to carry a firearm. If he does carry a firearm, there's additional insurance that you need through MMA, because then it's considered a law officer position.
Okay.
But if we decide not to, then you write that out and he signs it, that he's not authorized to carry a gun for that reason.
How about bear spray?
Is the
Carry bear spray.
is the current animal control officer for whom we contract with Lisbon,
Jeff Cooper.
right, does he carry a firearm?
Yeah, he's a full
I
officer.
assume so, he's a
Yeah,
full
he's-
officer.
He works for the Lisbon Police
Yeah,
Department.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether or not really for the types of calls that we have here, whether or not that's even an issue, but
The biggest issue
I
I
would
see if you have
defer to an expert.
if
on
you
that.
have to dispatch an animal.
Right,
And
I'd rather have him shoot it and club it.
right, a rabid animal or what have you.
Yeah, so that, it just looks like there's some other numbers and a couple of things we ought to decipher before we decide if we're gonna change or not, because once we look at that price and we look at all this other stuff, we may not be far off and maybe we'll wanna stay where we are. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just
Yeah, we
throwing
must
that
have,
out there.
as I was thinking, we'd be quite a bit lower on the pay, so, I mean, in a one-time deal there, we're gonna be quite a bit under it still, at least 2 or
And we-
3,000.
We will still have to pay the contract with the Coastal.
Oh, yeah,
Highway
that's there,
Society.
Yeah.
that's that.
So we might wanna put all the numbers together so we're looking at all the same thing before we,
when do we want to meet to look at
Well, we could do it our next selectmen's meeting if we have all the information yet. can't
We have to make a decision by April 15th.
Well, that would be April 7th, so I guess if we got everything together and, well, then we'd have to get. the
We still have to
interviews,
interview,
so,
yeah. So, next Tuesday?
Yep.
No,
No?
next Tuesday I got a prior engagement that I can't pass up this time.
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday would work for me.
Wednesday's fine with me.
The office ain't open, but I mean,
Yeah, Wednesday's not good for me, but,
I can't do Monday or Thursday, so.
well, if we could do it early enough,
can we open them tonight?
if we could do it
Yeah, can we
so
op-
that
Do it tonight.
I could be out of here by 7:15. Next
Oh,
Tuesday
next-
would be fine.
I would hope so. If we met at 6, I would hope we
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
review 3 applications
The
in
next
45
Tuesday-
minutes.
Yeah, next Tuesday would work then.
Okay. Next Tuesday, 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Mowing contract.
So I included, I updated the date for if we were to go out to bid, and included Public Works in it. And then I updated the ad too for certain deadlines. And then, also Yankee Yard Works, I have not opened it, and we obviously won't open it if you wanna go out for bid. But this is our person who does it now, and this is with basically a change order for Public Works, because Public Works is an additional.
Okay.
So, depending on what you guys decide.
Now, the cemetery contract, mowing of the cemeteries is a separate contract, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
And
And
so that would need, is that also up this year?
I don't know, but we need to find out from the cemetery committee because they're the ones that usually do the legwork on that.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to put this out? Or, I know in the past, when we haven't put things out to bid, we've had a lot of questions about why we didn't put it out to bid, so. My understanding is that we really do have to put it out to public bid.
This is what you've used before?
Right here.
Yeah, it's,
All right.
yeah, it's basically carbon copy, except that we added Public Works Garage and changed the dates.
Description.
It's exactly what we have listed.
I move that we put our mowings and ground maintenance contract out to bid with the modified specifications for 2015.
And to be back by April 17th.
To be back by April 17th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Congregational church request for permission to have table at town meeting. And they are requesting a table outside town meeting for orders for pies and cheese.
I believe that we told the group that wanted to sell quilt raffle tickets that we had no objection to it, they needed to check with the school to confirm that.
Correct.
And I would move that we take the same position here, is that it is okay with us as long as it is okay with the school.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, departments and committees, town administrator?
Well, I did an updated budget sheet. The numbers in purple are what's on the warrant. So that's an assumption that the numbers will stay the same.
For which, warrant for which year? It says
2015.
15, okay.
Yes, I forgot to change. So that's just for you guys to look at and see where we are financially. And that's about all I have.
Any questions for the administrator?
And the one number in here that's in red is because the workers' comp got moved around?
Because we're being charged more and.
Yes,
Yeah.
But it got
Exactly,
separated out to
yes.
different departments, so it
Right.
Right, so it's gonna be probably a different line item by that point.
Yeah.
tracks, thank you.
Code enforcement?
We did, I think
together some of the paperwork that the codes office has been generating, and it's just sort of in general for you guys to review when you get a chance, just so you get an idea about what I'm doing in my time of trying to fill in the holes that are missing. And some of the documentation and stuff as far as the first sheet, of course, is inspections, the basic inspections that are necessary on a project, and then this is mainly just for whenever you get a chance, if you want to kind of go through it, just to see what's up, get an idea where the office is headed as far as paperwork and stuff is concerned. An update on the Sand Hill project, where we had a little problem with some concrete that I couldn't inspect, but CW Cole was supposed to be coming by tomorrow, I believe, to do a core sample. The contractor had contacted Eric Kuby, which I guess he's friends with, who's an engineer at Casco Bay Engineering, and after my conversation with Eric, he agreed with me that CW Cole should core it and brake test it and see if it meets the requirement. So I hoped it wasn't going to be tomorrow because it's the day I don't work, but evidently I'll try to make it over for that. The Stevenson, where David Stevenson was having problems getting a CO for his house because there were no inspections that recorded in that. I have got both documents from the engineer and the architect that he had hired to do a review of the structure, with recommending certain amount of changes that needed to be done, and if he makes those changes, it'll comply, so it looks like we've got that nicely and well resolved. What else have I got here? There's some issues coming up. I'm going to discuss this with the planning board next week when we meet in regards to the growth ordinance. There's state requirements in the growth ordinance that require that the ordinance has to be revised and revisited every 3 years in order to stay active, and just to document that it's in compliance with the I'm going brain dead here, but anyway, with the with
Comprehensive plan.
Thank you. It doesn't appear since it's been written that it's ever been revised. So there's some concerns in regards to that. There's also some newer requirements within the state as to affordable housing and the allowances for affordable housing within the growth ordinance. So we'll have a discussion with the planning board on that on Wednesday of next week when we meet, to see what they think about how they want to approach going about that, and they'll probably have some recommendations to send to the board in that. I met today with a bunch of folks. There's some timber harvesting that was going on out on Runaround Pond. There was a citizen complaint that went to the DEP. It didn't come through this office. It went directly to the DEP. I've been dealing with this a little bit this week. I went out on Thursday, probably Thursday last week, and did a review of what the harvesters were doing. They were doing a good job. It had been marked well. I talked to the forester that marked it, so they weren't in the shoreline zone area, doing more than 40%. There's some confusion with the IF&W rules around endangered habitat, and there is endangered habitat around Runaround Pond, wading bird habitat, and some various other stuff. But if you look a little closer at the state regulations in NERPA, timber harvesting is exempted from the restrictions around endangered habitat, but they still are required to stay within the 40% rule, or the 6,500 canopy open spot circumstance. So we met with the DEP. There was a whole gang of us out there today. The state forester was there. The state the state ranger was there. Who else did we have there? The harvester was there. There was 6 or 8 of us anyway, just to kind of get a view about what was going on out there. And I had assured them that the project was being done well, and it was. So there was no concerns. A little bit of clarification. The woman that's working for the DEP now is new to the district. There's some rule changes going on with forestry in regards to the state forestry is taking care of NERPA and shoreline zone permits and doing oversight on that. So a little bit of internal kind of softball going on up at the state, and I'm sure they'll sort that out in the next couple of months, so we won't have any other issues to go there. I did get my application to the Maine Building Officials and Inspectors Association was approved at the last meeting, which is nice, so we'll be going. The last issue I have is I forwarded to everybody on the board an email from Mr. Feeney in regards to what he has appeared, what he has stated is my behavior in regards to his past professional position here and the way that he managed my office. There is he did, in quotes, say that I had made a derogatory comment about him publicly to someone, I don't know who, and used some profanity. I don't recall ever making that comment. If I did make that comment, I would say without a doubt Mr. Feeney's correct, I would owe him a public apology. No bones about it. But he didn't provide any proof that the comment had been, there's no proof. So I don't know I didn't respond to that part of it. It does appear that he has made some inroads to sort of further a complaint against me for this particular issue. So it may go on a little bit. As far as I can tell from what it says in here, at this point it appears to be a hearsay accusation on his part towards me. If it becomes more than that, I'm sure we'll all know.
What more do we know about it further on the complaint?
That's it. That's all we've seen.
All I've seen is the email.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, I don't have any idea where he's going with it, but if he's got proof and he pursues it, then that's where we'll go with it. I can nip that in the bud pretty quick.
I can't speak for the board, but I would say, just watch it when you're out there. Try to keep him out of the conversation as much as you can.
Yeah, it's inappropriate to speak to anybody in terms like that, no matter what. Whether it's true or not, it's irrelevant. It's just not professionally prudent. And I would agree with that. And I will try harder to be a little more. I have not. I have been fairly vocal in my assessment as to the way that the Office of Codes was left here, and I have a tendency to. I disdain incompetence. Just plain out, there's no excuse in my mind. So I will try to tone it down. But I also feel in some measure, and I had said this a little earlier, that it's not necessarily, in my mind, inappropriate for a codes enforcement officer to call another codes enforcement officer for the way that they're handling their position. We're both professionals in the same thing. It may be different for someone who doesn't necessarily know the office, the state requirements, and the work that's necessary to do the job well. I don't mind peer disdain. It seems like everyone likes to have peer accolades, but nobody wants to have peer disdain. And I think we need it more. I wish at this point that the state would audit my office and the other codes enforcement officers around the state, the way they do most every other public employee, to see that the requirements that they ask of us are being met, at least to some standard, and it doesn't exist. If it did, I would encourage them to look at my records as well, in case there's ways that I could improve my performance on the job. So I think that's all I have.
And I guess perhaps I would just state that we think about focusing on how the office is running now and from this point forward, and rather than how it has been run in the past, to
I'm sure
avoid
you run
any
into a lot of
potential additional conflict.
I'm sure you run into a lot of that, ain't the way it used to be done. I'm sure you run into a lot of that.
I do.
It's hard to not say why you're doing it differently, but we understand.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you. Next up, Chief.
I do have a big report, but it's not focused on activities in the department. And I asked to do it in this format because a lot of times it's done in executive session, but a I've heard a million different things, a million different rumors out there and stuff, and I want to set the record straight. I prefer the townspeople to have an opportunity to hear it firsthand instead of hearing what the rumor mill has to say about everything. So hopefully I'll do better than I did when I presented it to these guys. But starting March 2nd, I took sick leave to help my father and stepmother get their affairs in order, their short-term and long-term medical housing situation addressed, as well as spend time with them. Their health has been slipping for several years. Things really went downhill about 6 weeks ago. My stepmother had been fighting cancer for several years. When I went out, my stepmother had been in Central Maine Medical Center for about a week and a half. One of my sisters had been staying with my father, as he needs somebody with him pretty much 24/7. My responsibility at that time was to make sure that his household was running. When the department transported my father, the hospital admitted him for infections and general health. Now both of them were in Central Maine Medical Center. My stepmother's doctor was coordinating rehab and then recommending assisted living. My father was struggling with his environment. He sees very little and hears almost nothing and becomes confused with strange environments. Because of that, he was combative and his health was declining. My stepmother was sent to a nursing home for rehab. Once there, she appeared to give up hope and stopped eating. The doctor returned her to Central Maine Medical Center for chemo. Once again, she appeared to be improving. At the same time, we got my father moved to a room where there was less commotion around him. He became comfortable and he started to improve. Eventually, he was moved to Augusta VA for rehab in A Company. Between one of my sisters and I, we would make sure they had daily visits. In the meantime, we prepared their long-term care application and were trying to get their affairs in order. There was no life insurance, no long-term care insurance, no financial power of attorney, no medical power of attorney, and no will. About 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my sister on the way back from Augusta saying that they were taking my stepmother off everything but oxygen and pain medications. The hospice worker had been in, they had filled out the medical and burial wishes, now they would try to place her in hospice. Finding housing was unsuccessful, she would stay in the hospital on hospice. The family from out of state made arrangements to return to say goodbye. My father was adapting and was moved to C Company, a full rehab unit. It was tough that day when I had to tell him his wife was in hospice. I arranged to have an emergency release and bring him down the next Saturday to see her. A few days before that, a Thursday, my sister called to say my stepmother was transitioning and it would not be long. I had just left the VA. My two sisters from out of town were still there visiting. I turned around, checked to see if we could spring him. Then we broke the news to him. I took him to her room to say his goodbye, telling him about hospice was a cakewalk compared to that. She died early that Friday morning. I got to the VA about 7 to tell him and be with him. Now everyone has returned home. Last Thursday we had his meeting with the VA to discuss his progress in his placement. He is on a waiting list for long-term residential care, but there is no room and no money as of yet. One of the out-of-state sisters may return to care for him at home, but we will not know that answer for a week or two. His placement at the VA is medical. The insurance has to give us 48 hours notice if they feel it is no longer beneficial and are pulling the financial support. Today I did get power of attorney taken care of. Now we can at least pay the bills. These last 3 weeks have been an emotional and mental roller coaster, and I never liked roller coasters. I went out because of their condition. Obviously one is gone, but there's still personal and financial affairs to be addressed for my stepmother. I need to get my father situated, and his affairs still have a long way to go. I need to keep my request for sick leave active for a few more weeks, but do intend to come around when I can. However, it will be for administrative activities until I can return completely. We started discussing what I needed to change in the department over 6 months ago. I told you I was not certain I would stay. I formed a committee. We looked at direction, needs, fixes, and the safety of the community. What was in their best interest and how to affordably provide it. In October, I gave you a brief overview of recommendations. I also informed you that I wanted to do this. I would not be pursuing chief positions elsewhere. The path was to print and distribute SOGs to create a clear vision of expectations, stop providing dress uniforms to help instill pride and demonstrate gratitude, increase part-time hours and step to address gaps in coverage and to increase the chief's pay to close the gap on industry standards and improve the prospect of finding someone to mentor or for a replacement upon retirement. The budget was submitted, addressing all the items, and it was done in a methodical manner to lessen the blow. The big budget increases actually came from putting labor costs back where they should have been before they were cut last year, and sliding workers' comp over from the administration budget. The only item that was cut was the requested pay increase for the chief. I requested 5%, a $2,750 increase roughly. Yet you chose to place the position in a pay pool of 1 at 2% for roughly $1,100. I still love the fire service, Durham Fire Rescue, and the town of Durham. But I needed this time for me as well. I don't like the reasons, but it has given me a chance to examine a lot of things in my life. I have realized again that real love sometimes means letting go for the best interest of what you love or yourself. I have also realized to the management of the community, I am a commodity. I am tired of being told every year that the town has one expense or another. The economy is tough, so we aren't able to give out increases, yet we add material items, expand or add departments. The mindset appears to be, we know you care, so take it for the team. So here's where I am at. Commodities come in a variety of different styles, quality, and size. The price is set accordingly. I offered my services for 5% increase, which I had already mellowed to soften the blow. You feel I should be in the 2% pay pool of 1. I am not happy with the lack of communication and the lack of support. So after town meeting, if that is what is on the table, once affairs are in order, then I am leaving. I didn't want to leave. I never thought it would end this way. I always thought I would make it to 25 years as the chief. The department was started over 65 years ago. I've been chief for 22 of them. An accomplishment I'm extremely proud of. However, it is time for me to stop making concessions and secure my family's future in these final employment years. My retirement will depreciate rapidly. Once an amount is determined, there is no COLA with it. I have always had the capability of making more as a plumber, but I have always loved the fire service. In a nutshell, I have made my choice. Now it's up to you guys, the department, and the community to decide what you want. Perhaps in the end, cheaper really is better. And that's it. Just wanted to let you guys know where I stand, and I have been. It's been the primary reason, despite what all the rumors are saying, was because of my family's affair and because of their medical conditions. I don't know if they or you have anything, but once they're done, I do have a moral question I need to put on the table and ask you about.
I just want to say that, you know, I talked to you the other day. I haven't caught up with you again since, but I intend to get on town floor and ask for your 5%.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It, there's one over.
I talked to you Friday, and you basically said the same thing. And as I told you then, this is not the way I would like to see this end. I've been wrestling, and and as I said then, I'm wrestling, balancing also, you know, all the different responsibilities of this, and I feel the same way as Josh, that I would definitely support that. But that's me as me personally. When I present and when I initially present at town meeting, I am going to have to I'll have to present the budget that we put together, because that is my job as chairman. After that, I can go ahead and make any comments that I want and I can say suggestions and so on. But initially, I'm going to have to present, because that's what the board.
I've already secured my wife to come and give me a second. So.
That's what the board decided. But I have been wrestling with this. From many standpoints, but that's where I'm at right now. And
well, you should be the members of that department over there. You know, talk about wrestling, you know, this is, you know, we've all had to pull together, not that we haven't, you know. It's like the chief said at his meeting, we're all one family, we're sisters and brothers over there. And we'll stand behind him tonight and at town meeting. It's not easy to say, but we'll be there. I mean, I look at the different, I was in the budget committee for many years. I look at a lot of things that different departments in this town make and do. And one of the big problems we got right now is I watched through budget committee meeting, not only this year, but last year, is we need to cut something in each department, no matter what it is or how. We need to cut. God, the school's going up 12% last year. It's going up 10% this year. I'm tired of cutting town government to subsidize the RSU over there. And that's what we've been doing. We have pretty much since it was organized. There's nothing we can do about it. We have no, you know, we're
But
against
there
the
is.
boards there anyways.
Durham as a town needs to show up at the school board budget meetings. Very few people turn out. We had people that lined up a bus because people said they couldn't get to Freeport to attend the vote. A bus sat empty in front of the Eureka Center. We do have an opportunity to take the school budget and
Yes, we do. And
participate
it's
in that.
because I understand what you're saying. You know, it's hard to get people to go from here to there, just like it is, talked with a few of the higher ups in Pownell. They have the same problem, getting their residents to go to, you know. But, you know, get off that part of it, I look at other things like, in the last 10 years, how many grants has he written that has got equipment and whatnot for this town? I tried to figure it out the other night, going back a ways. I went back 10 years, and I stopped at a little over $400,000 in grants and whatnot, in equipment that this person has provided not only to the department, but this town, and it saved them tax dollars. I guess I've said enough, so you know where I'm coming from. I've been a life resident of this town, I've seen a lot, and I hope to see a lot more. But the guy does a lot for the department and the town.
I think there's gonna be a lot of opinions going on the town floor, so everybody have a chance to say what they want to say.
I do say that you're right, Bill. You did
bring it clearer than probably you did the first time you came to us. And I don't know if it was because you had it written down or whatever, but that was clearer to me than it was the first time when you sat down and you was explaining it to us one night when I said, well, geez, it seems like we're not really getting much, and that did make a difference, so. And I know it's hard to, I mean, I'm not one for writing all that stuff down either sometimes, but, you know. And I think the personal part of it wasn't something necessarily, I'm glad you did for your reasons and for, like I said, the rumor mill, but those are your personal issues, and, you know, you could do however you want with them. I mean, that's your business, and that really isn't anybody else's, but you're right, there was a lot of rumor mill running around. I didn't hear too many of them, because I don't think they come up on the Stackpole Road very often, but.
Only on plowing snow.
They don't stop at the house.
I did. I'm gonna campaign, but maybe I didn't explain it as clearly, but I do think I did say throughout the course what I thought we needed to do, what the committee, when we reviewed it, thought we needed to do. And I guess I'm gonna speak for every employee, because no matter what the outcome of this is, if I end up leaving, then I end up leaving. Trust me, I would hope you guys by now realize that I usually think things out fairly thoroughly before I actually act on them, providing I have time. And I know the outcome could end up that I am done, and I'm ready to accept that. It's time to focus on, like my paper said, on my family's financial security, and I've always been able to make more as a plumber. Any of you that have hired a plumber know that, and I've always had my plumber's licenses ever since I came here, but this is what I've always loved doing. So, but I guess I'll speak for everybody. One of the things, you know, listening to some of the budget committee kind of crushed me, because we just brought 5 new employees on. We impacted their lives, we made changes in their lives, and asked them to come work for us. That's just in the public works, and then we're talking about cutting this and cutting that. We focus on, it's almost like, and I'm not trying to trash anybody, it's overall how it's been on town floor. We focus on the employees, and it seems to be an easy place to make cuts, but it's the last place, and this is whether I survive or not. It's the last place we should make cuts. We should make happy, productive employees, and they're gonna more than pay us 10 times over. Instead of constantly replacing employees, and the other side of it is when we bring people in, and whether we have contracts or not, we set the stage. They make changes in their personal life based on the offers we put on the table. To pull the rug out from under their feet, I don't think we can get any lower than that, than pulling the rug out from somebody's feet less than a year after we gave them.
We fought to keep
An
the
employment
benefits. We
package.
fought to keep the benefits. You know, there was some miscommunication on the salary line, all right?
But it's something we always, every year, and I hope everybody that has recently become employed has a thick skin, because every year it's up for grabs, and every year it's a battle on town floor.
And we're gonna have that battle April 4th.
Then we step back and wonder why employees aren't always happier and aren't always productive. I guess I love this community, so the fact that that happens isn't gonna change, and I'm a resident in this community. But for the people coming in from the outside, they're missing a few of those pieces, and I think it's something, no matter what happens with me, we need to change if we want the town to flourish, because I think that's what employees could do for us.
It's okay that you shine, but you're still part of the team.
I'm gonna,
Team player, I'm saying.
I'm probably the biggest team player you will ever know, but I do want the ball.
That's all right.
Out in front, and I would prefer to be in the limelight, and I want the buck to stop here.
That's okay, but as long as it's a team, that was my point before.
No, it's okay. I guess I'm a little bit, the suggestion that we're pulling the rug out from under employees, in many, many industries, maybe not sitting right here in the town and what you were looking for, but in many industries, a 2% raise is pretty normal, or
It's
some
normal.
people aren't getting raises at all. So I don't really think it's fair to look at the selectmen and say that we're pulling the rug out from under employees by giving them a 2% raise. It's not, I wish we could give everybody huge raises. I think they do a great job. But I don't think that I don't think we're yanking the rug out from anybody.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I was not trying to, I put in for 5 because if you guys checked, no matter what you're looking for businesses or industry standards, I shouldn't say industry standards, because if you check industry standards and you check surrounding communities, you will find that the town of Durham, at least in the fire chief's position, has been gradually falling behind. And at the
I was looking at the kind of the town as a whole, not your position
yeah, and the
specifically.
2% thing, in some cases, I guess, to me, it's more a case of, yes, 2% may be satisfactory. Actually, there's been years my raise has been 0% because of the economy and stuff like that. 2% may be satisfactory, but I guess, to me, the bottom line is I guess what I was really trying to say is we should try to be trying to make, and I'm saying this as a taxpayer, not as chief, we should be trying to make employees happy, because if an employee is happy, they are productive.
Absolutely.
And it's by far cheaper to keep that institutional knowledge and that productive employee than it is to start over again.
You gotta bring that to the town floor.
It won't be a town meeting.
Oh.
That was the next part.
Okay. Well, those are things, I said it at the budget meeting, when they was trying to cut stuff. If you guys think you're gonna cut enough out of this budget to make up for what the RSU is doing, we're all done, because there's no money there. And that's the bottom line. So, it isn't just us trying to toe some kind of a line to make everybody happy. It's all those people on the town floor, all those 3,000 voters that we have that only 100 show up.
You are the leader.
I understand that, but, you
Because
can't,
ultimately,
I
said
can't
about-
pick them all and bring them in, they get to make
Ultimately,
the
I
decision.
said about the buck stopping here, but all those sleepless nights I occasionally have, you should be sharing them as well, because ultimately, you guys are my bosses. You are responsible to make sure that I am doing my job in providing for the safety of the community. So I hope you're having the sleepless nights occasionally as well.
I have a lot of them.
Good, but I guess the next piece is the town meeting. Listening to what I presented to you 2 to 3 weeks out, these guys have been managing the show. I will be honest with you, I have no idea what the final decision was on the budget. I have no idea what was in the town report. And I don't think I can show up I have a family event where that's Easter weekend. I have a family event on that Saturday. And I struggled with this constantly in regard to whether I should be there or I shouldn't be there. And as my report said, it's up to the department, the selectmen, and the townspeople to decide what you want to do. I don't want to be there. I know it's recorded, it's on camera, but I don't want to be there to try to sway the vote or to try to badger people into voting a certain way. They should vote the way they feel. The close of my report is maybe cheaper is better. Because many people will look at it from the perspective that perhaps we could save some money. I'd caution you on doing that, but I don't want to be there. And I guess to listen to some of the conversation that I would hope does take place, I can't sacrifice another family event to be there for that. So that was what I meant about not being there. I have a family event, I'm going to go to the family event. It'd be the first one I've missed in 42 years, and I think it's probably wisest if I did miss it, so that to me what the vote really should be is about direction and what the townspeople want to do, not just the difference in pay. That was my only moral question, though. I don't know if other people have things that they wanted to comment on or not, but that was my only question or statement. What I needed to put out with you is I've had a struggle with this, and it's too late to change it, and I need to ask you what you would like me to do. I don't know how much you looked at my list, but you will see based on my list that I am fairly active outside of the department as well. And prior to any of this transpiring, I was registered for Maine Fire Chiefs annual conference and training at Sunday River this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I am registered for a training on Saturday
and Sunday of this coming weekend. I don't know if I can make them work with the schedule I need to keep for my father's stuff. It depends on how stuff shakes out. More than likely we'll have to leave. I'm not sure how much of the money the town can actually get back, but I do think the town could perhaps get some back. So I guess I need to put it on in your court what your wishes are.
Is there anyone else that could go, or does it have to be a chief?
Well, I'm just asking.
the
I mean,
mic.
if it's
No,
already-
I cannot attend.
What,
The training is actually a joint, the one on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I will go to the annual meeting no matter what. I read that paper, I am the treasurer for Maine Fire Chiefs. I'll go to Maine Fire Chiefs annual meeting no matter what. As far as the training itself goes, it's actually an open training, so anybody for the Thursday and Friday event could actually attend the Thursday and Friday event. That's the piece I'm not sure I can get out of. The lodging, I can probably get out of a portion of it. I'm not sure if I'm all of it or not. The training this coming weekend, that's actually already been paid for.
what's,
My feeling would be if there's somebody from the department that would like to go, and we've already budgeted for it and paid for it, I wouldn't have any objection to somebody else attending the trainings if they're interested.
I was kind of wondering what's the probability that you would be able to attend. I mean, you're kind of not sure and so on. If you think,
Positive.
if you think there's a probability that you could make it, then I would say leave it there. And if you can't, if there's somebody else that's interested or whatever, then
You could appoint them to go.
but I don't know who would be. I don't know what type of training it's for and who it would help.
Well, the management was based on change. Somebody coming up from Charleston to speak about institutional change after they lost 9 firefighters in that structure.
In a fire?
Yes, it was years ago. He's talking about what they did to change the safety and the conditions of the fire service.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, if either you or you can find someone else to
Yep.
attend, it would probably be beneficial.
I will hit the individual who has, actually I shouldn't say individual, there's several of them. If I could, I'd like to toot their horns now, they know who they are. I'm not gonna name names, but there's several of them that have stepped up to the plate and made it come off pretty much without a hitch, even though they may not have had time. And they've done a very good job for the community. I don't know if they're charging the community or not. I'll be honest with you, I did tell them they should be, but I don't know if they are or not. And, I know you're probably hoping they don't. but I
No,
think they
actually, just the opposite. Because if they're working for the town, they should be
should
on
be.
by law.
They
They
should
should
be.
be on the clock.
Right.
So I
So-
think you should be encouraging them to turn in their time as well, because they've put in a lot of time. And I know for at least one of them, it's caused a few little family discussions. They won't admit it, but I know it's caused a few family
Well,
discussions.
anytime they do
Those do
something like that,
happen.
the family should be putting their time in.
If
We can't force them unless we know who they are, but.
if they're here, this is my encouragement to turn them in. And
The answer to your question about that donation, we do not.
okay, so are we all set? Okay.
Any of those guys all set?
No, I'd just like to say, Wayne Inman, that I support, I've been here since '94, and I work for a large construction company, and I'm gone a lot of times, you know, and over the years, we've lost people, and you're putting a burden on, if the chief gets done, you're putting a burden on somebody else, you know, a deputy. And I know I'm friends with all of them over there, but it's another 40 hours a week you gotta put in on the 40 hours he does already, or any of these guys that are sitting here. You know, it's not just, I don't go over there for the money. I make way more money where I'm at than over here at the Durham Fire Department. You know, so, and you got, the chief takes care of all the behind the scenes things with, you got the Department of Labor standards and all the stuff that's gotta get done. You know, if the Department of Labor goes in this, over the firehouse, and there's something wrong over there, and we get a fine out of it, you know, because we didn't cover ourselves, and that's the stuff he takes care of, you know? So, a little 5% is nothing. That's how I personally feel about it, you know? It's not a big deal. I don't understand. I mean, this is, here, the first time I've come here is today, obviously, to talk to you people, but I feel that, something's gonna happen, you know, over there. We're gonna miss something. There's all kind of paperwork that's gonna get filed every month, that, like, people take care of over there, that's gonna get missed, you know? Let alone the safety aspect of it.
We have some of the same issues here. We understand this paperwork over there has to be filed,
Yeah.
or there could be problems. There's the same thing here. Some of these girls here that work here there's certain paper they have to file with the state, or there's problems, so.
And
We get
I'm
that,
sure it'll
but-
get done, but, you know, I've seen it get missed.
It's no different if you retire, you have to find someone to do that paperwork too, you know? And,
Absolutely,
you
but
know,
who is
so-
gonna, you know,
It's no different.
he's gonna get done in a few years anyways, or whatever the thing is, what's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was on call this weekend, I sat home doing nothing, waiting for a fire call for the town, you know what I mean? Then we get a fire call at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm the guy that gets up, all these guys are behind me, and takes off and anybody can volunteer to help out. That wants to give their 2 cents, you know, that participate, join the fire department. Not a big deal.
I'm gonna echo that. Bill DeLong, you guys haven't seen me. I'm just, that's, being not from up in New England, new to me, kind of structure of town government, so it's always been a little intimidating to me. Anyway, so I help out at the department on emergency management stuff. And really, mostly, because we've been lucky enough not to have any big, really significant issues where we've had to activate an EOC or anything like that. Basically, help out on grant stuff. And I'll echo here, the amount of money that's been brought into this community as a result of the chief's efforts. And I know I used to work for Maine Emergency Management. My job was grants, and it ate my life. But just in the last few weeks, trying to stay on top of all the grant stuff, so we can reduce the amount of money the town, the town share stuff. There was a short fused. We could get $2,700 real fast if we acted on it. The chief rushed up and said yeah, and then these things started to happen with him. And then I just picked up the ball after he had already started moving it to get that in. So these are the kind of things that that have to be taken into account. This is stuff that you guys might not see. You might remember having had a conversation with the chief about $8,800 that we were going to need to cover down on the tower project. And as a result, if it looks like we're going to get this money, it's going to be reduced by $2,700, which sounds to me an awful lot like how much was missing. Whether you guys knew that or not, I don't know. But that's to say nothing about all the other things, all the other, all these other things that he does to make this town safer and make it so that the taxpayers, the rest of us who are taxpayers in this town, don't bear such a big burden on trying to keep the town safe.
You guys all gonna be here on April 4th? I know the chief said he won't be. We need votes.
Anything else?
Testimony, you know.
Kurt?
I wasn't gonna speak, but I guess I should. So I apologize in advance if I slip and say something I shouldn't. I've been here since '91, and I was here when Billy was here. When I started, Billy was here. He was a volunteer then, and we didn't get paid crap. I've seen Billy come to be the volunteer chief, the full-time chief, and all these things about the future of the department. I know him because I sat through these meetings with Billy trying to help him. To say that he wasn't blindsided, I think he was. And I think the big thing here is the support of the selectmen when Billy came with a 5% increase. And then got given a piece of paper with a 2% increase on it. If you don't sleep at night, you should be thinking about that. that was support for Billy. You guys didn't give him that. Okay? Known Billy a long time. I sat through a lot of budgets with him. I was his former deputy for a long time. And me, I probably would have had to say something when you slid that piece of paper to him. But that's not me. Billy's different. We used to be a good team as a chief and deputy. Because he was political, I wasn't. But you did blindside him. But at town meeting, I'll be there. And if you hesitate to support him, then I will call you on the carpet. I think he does a lot. And in 22, 24 years we've been together, I've never seen him ask this place for anything we didn't need. What Billy asked for is needs, not wants.
You don't disagree, that's why, that's why we're gonna,
You are, you can personally,
Me
I personally won't be going for the 5% raise. That's just me, everybody has their own personal opinion.
well, that's it. I could speak for myself, and I may not even be sitting here after April 3rd, but April 4th, I'll be there.
Like I go there on Sundays, I'll give you an example, you cut the Saturday, Sunday burning permits, I don't know what that is, I think it's like $2,500 for the year, something like that. Cut that out of there. You know what I mean? I spend 2 hours over there hanging out, waiting for a burning permit they get them online. Not a big deal. You gotta pay me to sit there, wash the trucks, do whatever in between stuff. Something like that. There's gotta be something.
It's too bad it come down to money.
It always is.
That's-
Just like
no.
no different where I work,
Stay to go, it's come down to money, stay to go. Give me money and I'm gone. That's too bad it's come down to
I'm not
that.
sure it's exactly the money, I think it's more the insult that was done.
We can only say sorry so many times, you know what I mean?
Okay. We'll move on. Thank you. Selectmen's comments, there will be regular meetings here, April 7th and April 21st at 6:30 PM. Municipal elections will be held at the Durham Community School on Friday, April 3rd, 2015. Polls will be open from 8 AM to 8 PM, and absentee ballots are available at the town office or may be requested by phone, 353-2561, extension 11, or by mail and or email. You can find the addresses on the town website. Town meeting will be held town meeting will be held Saturday, April 4th, 2015 at the Durham Community School beginning at 9 AM. Town reports are now available at the town office and Get and Go. RSU 5 board meeting for budget review with public comments will be March 25th, 2015. I believe that's tomorrow evening at 6:30 PM at the Freeport High School cafeteria. Is there anything else that needs to be addressed? Okay. I move that we go into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A personnel for personnel matters.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. And